Yeah, listen, I was just giving you a call to make sure that we had everything that we needed for the hearing on Monday. Yeah, I mean, listen, if it was up to me, the thing wouldn't even get to trial. Yeah. Now listen, Diane, we've been on a good streak lately, all right? Now it's really important that we make sure that we get everything that we need. Right? Right. Okay, listen, I got somebody walking in the office now. Yeah. All right, I'm going to give you a call back in a few. All right. Bye.
Mr. Ramiro.
How we doing? How can I help you?
My name is Jamari Young. I'm not sure if you got a chance to look over my case.
Jamari Young. Oh, right. Jamari Young. Hey, how you doing? Perfect. I did get a chance to look into your file. To be honest, I was a little perplexed by it. But you know what? Come on in. Have a seat. We'll talk. Is that your file? Perfect. All right. Take a look at that. Okay. Okay, so it says here that you were a journalist at the St. John's Times. Okay. You were terminated by them last week, and you're filing a civil rights suit?
The termination was racially motivated, yes.
What says here that let you go for a missing deadline?
One. I missed one deadline in the 3 years that I was there.
Okay. So, why do you feel that they're discriminating against you?
Well, I was the only black person in the company, and there's always been tension between them and myself. I would write a lot of articles about black culture and black oppression, something that they've always acted condescending and dismissive towards.
So this has been going on for about, what, 3 years now? Why do you think they're letting you go now?
Last week, the police officer who assaulted my fraternity brother was acquitted on all charges. And after the verdict, I wrote an opinion piece about the dehumanization of men of color by a percentage of police officers in the St. John's Judicial Courts. Now, this article, of course, sparked a lot of controversy. The donors threatened to end their partnership with the company, and ever since then, they've been out to get me.
Okay, well, my apologies for your friend, Jamari, but...
There's no but, with all due respect to you, Mr. Romero. Warren Coleman was just trying to break up a fight. The cops mistakenly thought that he was a part of it and ended up breaking his arm and 2 of his ribs. This is the 4th case in this county alone where a cop was acquitted for using excessive force against an African American. I'm sorry, but I've had my breaking point. I feel like I had no choice but to write that article.
Well, we always have a choice, Jamari. All right, so let me get this straight here. So you pretty much wrote an article, pretty much bashing police officers in our county courts, and you wrote this in a predominantly conservative column with a predominantly conservative audience. I mean, that's a bit bold, don't you think?
I bash police brutality. There's a difference. A difference that for some reason people don't really seem to understand. And I promised myself that when I started my career, I wasn't going to bite my tongue.
Okay, I understand that, I do, but the thing is, in your situation, you're pretty much directly calling your employers racist. Now, if they are racist, which you claim they are, why hire you to begin with?
Well, they get more grant money, they have more minority supporters, and they know from my track record I was the one to help them get that.
Right. Look, I admire your passion, Jamari. I really do. But I'm going to let you in on something. I've also created a reputation for myself. Now, I just kickstarted my career this year with a lot of success, and I mean, let's get down to it. I like to win. I like to take on the cases I know I can win, which means sometimes I need to avoid the more obstreperous cases, if you will. And to be transparent, Jamari, yours is far from a slam dunk, my friend.
Mr. Romero, they moved their deadline up to a Thursday, knowing full and well that I wasn't able to get the resources to complete it until Friday. That's sabotage.
I mean, do you have any proof that they might have done this?
No, not yet, but
All
we
right,
can...
you know what, Jamari, I'm going to stop you there. This isn't TV, okay? This isn't the movies. This is real life. Now, this is the court of law that we're talking about here. Discrimination cases, especially ones that are dealing with race, those are some of the hardest to win and to prove. I mean, if you want to do this with me, you need to come at me with some cold, hard, objective facts that prove that your race, and only your race, was the only factor in your termination. So far, everything you showed me, everything you presented to me, circumstantial. That's a mess.
But I was one of the top performing journalists in the company, though. I gave them their biggest minority demographic in their 60-year history, and I would still be successful today if I was there.
What about your past, Jamari? Yeah. Because it says here that you were part of a Black Lives Matter protest that got out of hand, which reporters say you orchestrated. You also were fired back from your job back in 2011 for disorderly conduct. Yes. Sometimes I like to do a little bit of research on the people that want me to take their case.
That doesn't have anything to do.
Oh, but it does, Jamari. I'm not saying anything that the opposing counsel wouldn't. See where I'm going here?
So you're not going to take the case?
Look, I'm sorry, but my hands are tied on this one. Discrimination cases, yeah. Those are hard enough on their own, and with all due respect, somebody with your past, somebody with your record, cannot be the face of one. I'm really sorry, but look, just because I can't help you out doesn't mean I can't maybe refer you to someone who probably can help you out if you want to.
My apologies. I just thought that of all the lawyers in this county, you would be the one to actually get it. But I guess you're just one of them, huh?
Excuse me?
One of those Hispanics who think that just because they've made it in the land of the free, they can forget about all the issues going on in their own culture.
Okay, first of all, you don't know anything about me,
I know
so let's
all
get
about
that
you.
straight.
Born by two Mexican immigrants who made something out of themselves to provide the great American dream to their little boy. Probably never had to work hard or struggle for anything in your life. Vanderbilt Law, tuition fully paid for, registered Republican. You grew up in rich suburban neighborhoods where you never spoke Spanish and you go by George instead of Jorge. Better fit in with those rich white classmates of yours in your fancy private schools and a silver spoon in your mouth. You aren't the only one who knows how to do a little bit of research.
So you think I just had it easy, huh? Okay. So why don't you tell me, were you ever bullied in school because your English wasn't perfect? Or you know what, better yet, were you ever scrutinized by your own Hispanic peers because your Spanish wasn't as precise? Do you constantly have to play this game of identity tug-of-war where you're too American for the Mexicans, yet too Mexican for the Americans? You know what, you're right. Just because my parents worked their butts off to make sure I had everything I needed to be successful doesn't mean that I didn't have to work twice as hard to be where I am today. You know why? Because my background follows me everywhere I go with everything that I do. I get those subtle but noticeable looks when I tell folks what I do. I get those extra stares in the retail stores. Let me tell you what a normal day growing up was for me was like. A normal day for me was having the cops ride up to my house, dragging a family member out of my living room and shoving them into a cage, shipping them back to a country they know nothing about, but they are forced to call it home. So don't you ever just sit there and say I had it easy, because I never did. Don't let the fancy office fool you.
Okay. Okay. My apologies for misjudging you. But with all that being said, how could you sit behind that desk and act like you don't understand what's going on
I
here?
understand what's going on.
I don't think that you do, because if
Tamari,
you did...
I understand. But the problem is that when you have a case like this, things could be extremely complicated, and I'm not trying to put myself in a position like that.
Well, sometimes you can't always do what's easy over doing what is right. You just told me that you know how it feels to be discriminated against. That you know how it feels to have people treat you differently because of the color of your skin. Racism is rooted in this country, but you actually have the power to make a change, Mr. Romero. You have the power to make an example of these people and show them that we as minorities refuse to be treated unequally. So don't just take the case for me. Take it for you. Take it for your family. Take it for all the minorities who feel they have to censor themselves from celebrating their own culture because they don't want to have to piss off white America. Take it for everybody that's been wrongly accused of something. I lost my job, Mr. Romero. I lost my job because I was proud of who I am. I lost my job because I wanted to shed light on issues that are happening in our nation that are affecting my community. Issues that had people like Rodney King, Philando Castile, Eric Gardner either brutally injured or dead. So don't just take the case for me. Take it for you. So I want you to look me in the eye. Look me in the eye. And tell me that you don't think that that's wrong.
I know it's wrong.
Then help me prove it. In court.
You realize this isn't going to be easy, right?
I read in your bio that you wanted to become a lawyer to fight injustice and help those who suffered from it. But I'm not saying this is going to be easy. But don't let that deter you from what you came in this field to do.
What do you want me to do, Jamari? I mean, you're coming into my office, you're presenting me to a case that's never been won in this county before. You're coming at me with no proof, no substantiated evidence. From a professional standpoint, should I help you? I shouldn't. Because on paper, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Will I help you? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Then I guess we have some work to do.
Alright, let's start this whole thing from the beginning.